Just got done editing the video, so let's take a look and see what we did. Alright, so the first thing I've done is I cut a little piece of metal here, kind of an odd shape, but what we're going to do is end up laying this like that in the hole, and then I'm going to weld all the way around that, also fill this up in here. We'll fill that up and then grind it all smooth, and hopefully that looks good. Now this is only 1/8 inch steel, so it's not anything major, but again, the reason I don't think this is super detrimental is because this is the top of the axle. It's never going to see any kind of trauma or, you know, any hard bounces or anything like that. So as long as we get this hole plugged up, I think we should be safe. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go get the torch. We're going to heat all this up really well. Then we'll bring in the welder, we'll tag it, and we'll get it plugged up. All right, so the first thing to do is heat it up. I've got a weed torch here. We're gonna get it up to at least 400, maybe 500 degrees. And then I got the welder ready. All I gotta do is turn it on and we'll get that piece on there and see what happens. So let's get it hot. $330. 470, I think that'll do it. Now, by no means is this pretty, but first off, I'm not a welder. And secondly, I built it up so that I could grind it down smooth and make it look like it's not there. So that's what we're looking like right now. I'm gonna go ahead and get the blanket, wrap it up, and we'll come back tomorrow. All right, it's a new day, and I went ahead and took the blanket off, and we ground down some of those welds, and actually didn't have as much there to grind off as I thought I would. But there's still some gaps. I'll show you here. We're going to have to fill some of this in through here, fill it in, little spots here, and then right down in there you can see that we didn't fill up the hole a little bit. So we're going to have to go ahead and weld that through and get that all sealed up, and then I'll grind it down again, and then we'll be ready to clean up the tube. Let's get it heated up and then we'll weld that in there real quick. Alright, so after several sessions of welding and then grinding and then welding and grinding and trying to get rid of all the pits and everything, I think I've finally got to a place where I'm satisfied, and this is what we're ending up with. Yeah, there's some pitting along the top there and maybe a little bit down in that little corner there, but it's all sealed up. I feel pretty confident about that. So now that that's fixed up, the next thing is we're going to be to clean up this tube. My truss is supposed to arrive tomorrow, so let's work on that. I wanted to show you the new tool I got, and it is this. And it's a Blue Rock tube sander. I got this off of Amazon for a couple $100. Came with a lot of different sanding belts on it. And then I also ordered some Scotch-Brite belts to go with that to shine things up even more, just for something to play with. So take a look at this. So here's the tube, just with the flat disc on it, getting it cleaned up there. And then here is the belt with 60 grit here. And then here's 180 grit. And then after that, here's with the Scotch-Brite pad. And man, this is just clean. That's nice. That's gonna make painting that super easy. That's really smooth, gets out all the scratches. I like it a lot. So highly recommend, 10 out of 10. So I'm gonna finish getting the tube cleaned up, have it all ready, throw on some weld through primer, and then tomorrow when the truss gets here, we can start fitting that up and go from there. All right, it's a couple days later. We got the Barnes low profile truss delivered, and actually had my daughter's boyfriend, Isaac, he come over to help me do some welding. He's a senior in high school. He's in the vocational program for welding. And so I turned him loose on it, gave him the welder, and let him go to town. The only issues we had were the little corners or nubs sticking out from the C's on the end of the axle. So I ended up cutting off one of those, and that helped it lay right down on top of the axle where it needed to go. After an hour or so of welding, he got it finished up, and we left it overnight to cool, and I came back the next day. So that's going to be it on this for a while. I'll work on getting the ends taken off, all the spindles and axles and stuff like that, and get it ready to get re-geared and get the locker installed.